All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on our talk today about human risk management going beyond just IT conversations. So today, I have I don't know if I should say Cajun cohort. I think you fall outside of Cajun country proper, but Tara with EmiBot. Tara, tell us what you do for what you do for a living and what your biggest fear is.
Seriously, that's what we're starting with.
I gotta warm you up. I gotta warm you up.
Thought everything was food related. Okay, so here we are. I'm Tara with ImmiBot. Yeah. Wow, you threw me off. MSP channel captain. So that is basically director of community and events, and I get to go talk to people about running MSPs. It's really fun, and I also advise for a Baton Rouge based MSP called Immense Networks that spun off ImmiBot. So I do a lot of operations, sort of help with them and help lead their team of directors, really. And biggest fear, seriously?
That's for my own personal files.
Yeah, I hold it over my head. I honestly, it used to be flying. Um, and it's not so much flying, it's the giving up control and having literally my life in someone else's hands. So that might be it. I'm also like deathly afraid of sharks, which is interesting. Never encountered one. You can laugh all you want. I didn't. So, reasoning being, I saw Jaws when I was about 6,
Uh,
right? And I didn't go into the ocean for like 14 years. Like, I refused. So, blame my family for letting me watch Jaws. It's now one of my favorite movies, but terrified of sharks.
so
Yeah.
it's ChannelCon. We need to do like a Sharknado 1 through 6 viewing, right?
So, do you know what's really funny though? I know, side tangent. I'm obsessed with whale sharks. I desperately want to swim with one, and you can do it in open water in Mexico, but I'm afraid of all the other sharks that are out there. So there's that.
What's the worst that could happen? All right, so here's your food related warm up question. Being that you are from, I would say you from South Louisiana. Boil crawfish, season the water or season the crawfish afterwards. What do you
Oh, why not both?
see, that's my go to answer. I'm like, you can do both. It's fine.
Yeah, I prefer both because I like that extra seasoning on them, and I had just started doing that a few years ago. I had always done the water before that, so I'd say both.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's get into our questions for the day. Let's
Perfect.
see if you're ready. Because when I think of someone who will give spicy answers about human beings, like your name is the first one that pops into my head. Like that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Okay, I like it.
All right, so let's go like this. So like, let's say we have a security program or security awareness program or whatever. And a lot of times we focus on the technical aspect of it. So how do we, when we're building a security program, how do we ensure like we don't neglect the human side of security?
Oh man, so I think people are going to hate my answer probably to this. And the answer is stop thinking like a tech person, honestly. Stop thinking so much like a security person because at the end of the day, like your clients and their end users aren't really going to care about your stack. They're not going to care. I mean, everyone does endpoint management at this point. So they don't want to know the tools or what you're using for that. They want to know how it's going to affect their business or how it could affect their business. So I would say, don't, I mean, you can't go in saying your firewall's outdated or we need to update this because of, whatever, and getting into the minutia. They're not going to care. But if you tell them, hey, there's people in your company like clicking sketchy links, that that's a problem and here's why, right? You have to make it relatable for them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the turning point for me when I was still in the on the MSP side, was like we were doing all of our QBRs, right? And they were
Yep.
very, very technical. It was like, hey, look how many tickets we closed, and look at this, and we updated your FortiGate to this version, and this is all the stuff we've done. And I remember one of the attorneys sitting in the room because we did a lot of legal services.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, man, can you just stop talking nerd to me? Like, I don't care." And I was like, at first, I was like, "How dare you?" Right? Like, how
How
dare
rude.
you even like I'm the technical person and you're the attorney, right? Like, and then I got back to my office and I was still a little upset. And I was like venting about it, and then it clicked on me. I was like, they don't care because we're not talking in the language that they care about, right? Like we're
Yeah.
and then like I was always say like I relate it to like you're having a conversation with someone for the first time, I don't care what business conversation,
Mhm.
date or whatever, right? Like, if you make it about yourself and you only talk about yourself and not the person across the table from you, then like the other person's going to tune out 100% of the time, right? Like you
Well, and
have
it's
to
that
make
way
it
with
about
any
them.
business conversation, right?
Yeah.
If you and I've told our MSP this so many times. I'm like, you keep explaining why things are important to us. You have to explain why it's important to them. And at the end of the day, they're not going to remember all the jargon and all that stuff. But if you tell them a story, they're going to remember the story, right? So it always has to go back to them because I mean, we're humans and the most important person in most of our lives, like people hate to admit it, is probably yourself and the people that you're caring about in your business and people that rely on you, right? So you have to make it relatable to them at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, my favorite quote to always use is like, "People won't remember what you did for them, but they will remember the way you made them feel," and it's true,
Yep.
right? Like, if you were like, "Hey, Tara, can you tell me?" I'd be like, "Oh, Tara's a great person." Like, I wouldn't start naming the actual things that makes Tara a great person off the bat, but like, the default of human nature is to go like, "How do you feel about that person?" Right? Like,
She's a gem.
she's an absolute. She's you have to protect her at all costs. Like, but it's true, right? Like a lot of it is like I used to tell people like human beings, the, the basis of things like we're still emotional creatures as much as we try to be as logical as possible. Like we're still
Yeah.
emotion driven, and like it goes back to like how do your clients feel about you, right? Like how do you justify the cost increases every year? And it's like cool, like we can look at a line item all day long, but like if they feel like they're getting good value from you, right? Which is
Yeah.
qualitative, I guess. It's not real like that's important. So like how do you drive that? How do you drive that, right? How do you go beyond just like talking about your products and start talking about how it impacts them?
And that feeling is something that you can't metric, right? So it's so hard to quantify that. But at the end of the day, I mean, even as like a software company and as an MSP, we work with people we like and people that give us those like good feels and that we feel like are in this stuff with us.
Yeah, and that's so how do you have that conversation? So like I'll put my tech hat on. Like I don't know like how to drive that conversation. Like where do I start changing my approach? I guess. Like, what would you do?
So, I mean, I think a lot of this is just about continuing your conversations regularly. Like I know we were really bad about this with our MSP, especially during COVID. We stopped doing QBRs because, life happens, fires happen. But it's having that regular cadence with these people. And maybe, I mean, I'll be honest, I started going into some of these meetings with one of our tech guys because he could not bring it to a level people could understand. So I was almost like the interpreter for this dude that's just like, let me explain my passion, which is great. And then you see the eyes glaze over and people just being like, what? What the heck did I just listen to? So I was there to just kind of be that, okay, well, this is what he means. And this is why it's important for your people to understand this thing.
Yeah, you
Right.
were like a tech Sherpa. You were helping them navigate the tech jargon mountain that was approaching them, right?
Yes. Yes.
So like
Absolutely.
so like the closest I think like all right, so I hate talking about stack stuff, but like all right, so you have a technology stack, right? The closest thing that usually touches the human side is like security awareness programs like training and like
Yeah.
trying to I don't know, change human behavior. I almost use the word manipulate there, but I'm not gonna go there, but like change
Influence.
there we go.
Influence.
There we go. I'm gonna start using influence human nature, right? Because that's
Yeah.
the whole point of it. So like how do you do that besides just like throwing training videos at people and saying like watch the video and like you'll be a better person?
You'll be a better person.
I don't know.
So
I didn't know where I was going with that question, but like that's where we're gonna land.
yeah, the throwing that at somebody and having like this diatribe monologue thing is not going to work, right? So I think it should be short and sweet and regular cadence, like I said. But on top of that, and I know this is so hard to do, is tailoring some of these things for the job roles and the departments. So, like, while everybody should probably know not to put a random USB drive in your computer, what accounting really needs to know is how to spot a fake invoice or what seems weird, or maybe don't buy a bunch of Walmart gift cards if you're an assistant. Things like that, where it's a little more in tune with what could actually happen. I used to tell the story when I would go into clients because it actually happened to one of our clients where a brand new assistant Somebody found her on LinkedIn. They did all their required, what research on her. Found out who her boss was that happened to be on vacation because they posted about it on Facebook. Like this person did their work. She ended up going to Walmart and buying like 10 grand in Walmart gift cards. And she didn't even have the numbers fully scratched off on the back so they could see them. They asked her to resend them after she scratched them more. I'm not even kidding. And they were like, how could you have stopped this? I'm like, well, at some point we can't. This is on, like, we're educating and we're trying to make sure they don't do these things. So really, if you can tailor that content and go as an assistant to the CEO or whatever, this may happen. Like you need to understand how to spot it, I think is really important. And I think part of it is also like simulate these things, but then don't shame them afterwards if they screw up, right? Public shaming is the worst. I fight so hard against it, but publicly celebrate if they do something right. Like if you do a simulation and they report it, cool. Guess what? You get points. Gamify it if you can, I think.
Yeah. No, yeah, you hit one of the nail on the head right there, right? Like, so when I was doing outreach for the Council on Aging, right, and we would talk about scams, right, which mostly affect the elderly. There, so we would have these conversations, and like people were so afraid to talk about it because they were like the stigma that comes along with it, right? Like if you're elderly and you get caught up in a scam, then like your cognitive functions aren't working. You might have Alzheimer's, right? Like it's all the negative stigma that comes with it. And we're like, yeah, but like we have to give them a space where they can talk about it and not be like, well, that was dumb. Because how do we? Because like how do you learn? It's because like you learn, like humans learn from other people's mistakes, and like if we don't talk about it, then it still
Yeah.
becomes stigmatized. And like we have to find that balance. And the approach of praise in public, chastise in private, right? Like that is that's we can go into management and talk about how people manage people and like calling people out during meetings for stuff that should be handled privately and things like that. Like it's all goes back to like how you make people feel.
I think just make it anonymous. You can call it out. Just don't call out the person's name. Like no one wants to be embarrassed. That's the worst way you can train someone to do something. It's like when you have a puppy, right? You're supposed to give treats and stuff instead of like shaming them because they, went on the floor or whatever. It's the same concept. Let's,
Yeah,
let's lead with a treat, not a stick.
my dog, if you yell at her, she pees on the floor. So like we've learned a long time ago, you can't yell at her. And she'll just pee on the floor. It's like that. I was like, she got me. She manipulated me. I
That
changed my
backfired.
behavior so she wouldn't
Yep.
pee on the floor anymore. And I'm like, I'm being manipulated by my own dog.
Yes.
Look at this. Now I'm not
Yes.
influenced. I'm not going to use the word. I was manipulated by my dog.
I love it.
So like that becomes a part of like any kind of security program. It's like the human side of things. But like, how do we? I don't know. How do we align that with like business outcomes? Because like again, I starts going into how does this really impact the business? And like we could talk about
Mhm.
the soft side of things, but how would you have that conversation about here's how this ties to how here's how including humans is a part of your business outcomes, your bottom line dollars, your regulatory requirements, etc.
Well, I mean, if you want to do bottom line dollars and insurance and things like that, I mean, that's a direct correlation, right? If you're not doing these things, but at the end of the day, you don't want it to just be a checkbox, right? Because that's where you get that once a year training happening. Um, so how does your team help not cause the incident? I would say, and a lot of that comes down to education. We all know this, right? And then I think, I mean, I haven't looked at our insurance documents in a while, but I know that we give clients the like a riskiest clickers report. And so like we give them extra trainings and we try to explain, if we're not addressing these things and we're addressing them regularly, guess what? That insurance is going to start having problems with this. And guess what? You might not get that next renewal or it's going to be sky high through the
Yep.
roof. So I think that's super important, right? You have to also make it a little bit interesting. Like we said, the tell stories, tell how this can actually affect businesses. I don't think people realize how much if like your stuff gets encrypted, how much it actually costs to get out of one of those situations.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the last major incident I worked at our MSP before I came over to the vendor side of things. I mean,
Mhm.
like it was full. It was 200 endpoints or something like that. Everything was encrypted, and like the biggest concern, like when we got sat out on the table, was like, hey, we're supposed to do payroll today, so like checks aren't hitting people's accounts tomorrow. So like,
Yes.
how do you pay, how do they pay their mortgage, put food on the table, etc. Like, what's our plan for the next 2 days to get money in people's accounts, right? Or help them pay bills that they need to pay, right? Like,
Yep.
and we don't think about that, right? We think about like, oh my god, my stuff's down. Like, I'm not gonna my any projects I have, revenue's not coming in, but like, you got people who are worried about their jobs. And like, I could tell you, every major incident, like big incident that I've worked, where like I had a nursing home one
Mm.
time. People start looking for jobs. Like, there's like, oh, we'll never financially recover from this, and like, you literally start to lose staff. Like, I've seen some major incidents where like the reduction in staff 5-10% within the next week or two because they go find new jobs.
But
And like,
can you blame them? It's terrifying. And everything we're seeing in the media makes it look like this that doom and gloom, right? So I think a lot of this comes down to the conversations you're having and explaining to these people how you're mitigating those risks. Because you want to help them and you want to make sure they are protected as people and you understand that their jobs are important.
yeah, and I mean, it goes back to how does the business actually show that they're doing like a I can't tell you how many commercials I've seen where it's like, we're people first, and then like something bad happens, they're like, we're gonna fire people, and it's like, that's not people first. That's not how they work.
We're people first when things are great.
But yeah, I mean, I mean, that's the point, right? Like, the human side is often neglected, and like, that's, I think, like, so we talk about like a crowded space, and we talk about like, how do people who are technically mature combat, other IT providers who are not technically mature, who are selling, I don't know, I'll use the term trunk slammer. So like, yeah, you got mature MSPs who are fighting on trunk slammers on price and everything. Like, the differentiation there is like, it's not your tech stack, it's how you approach people.
Yep. And
Huh.
it's being able to prove what you're doing, right? I mean, I feel like we talk so much in this industry about QBRs, but the reality is if you are able to prove that, this clicking on random links is going down, this whatever. Somebody put a random USB drive in their computer. That's not happening anymore. Like you have to be able to prove it to your client because it seems like it's not a big deal or it won't happen to you, but we all know it's not an if, it's a when. And
Yeah.
it's who's going to get pumped.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, we're getting close to time here,
Oh,
Tara. So like, what's any last thoughts, last words, or because I got one more question for you before we wrap up.
um, last thoughts, last words. When you onboard new people or your client onboards new people, build this into your new hire onboarding process. And you can have a course. I like weird names for everything we do and like funny little names like don't click weird stuff course. Like this is the course that you have to take in order to know how to read an email and know what's like sketchy, right? So definitely build it in starting day one because that's how you build the culture of security, right? And
Yeah.
people focused.
All right. Here's your spicy question. You get one birthday wish, and you can fix any problem you see in the IT space. What's the one problem?
Oh no, this is Freddie. This is hard.
You only get
One
one though,
problem.
and I'm gonna monkey paw it. So just letting you
Oh,
know.
oh man, I don't even know. There's so many.
It's got you only get one.
Oh, um, holy crap. I don't even know. I would get rid of the snake oil salesmen that are just kind of selling whatever to whoever, whenever, and making these false promises and not delivering. Let's
You
say
mean I
that.
can't I can't 100% protect your network from all risks? Come on. Like, how else am I
Right?
gonna win business?
Right?
It's a constant
Uh,
constant tension.
Never use definites in our space.
I
Like,
never.
just don't. Like, it's
Or
so.
or Jason Slagle will come for you, right?
I'll come for you at this point. What are you talking about? You're.
And,
I'm really nice most of the time. If you're on the bad side, use definites. There you
all right.
go.
All right. Well, if thank you for being here today and chatting with me. If anybody wants to continue the conversation with you, like, what's the best way for someone to reach out to you and not send you cold email calls through LinkedIn?
Well, I won't answer those anyway. They go immediately into an archive folder. And then next time you email me again or message me, they go right back into that folder. Um, I would say you can find me on LinkedIn. I am around at a ton of events. I mean, I'm hard to miss. I wear a lot of sequins. Or what? There's sequin hats behind me.
Like a fishing lure walking through the through vendor
I am. I have like a shiny fishing lure. Yeah, I mean, I'm all over the place, honestly. And if you reach out to me, I'm always happy to help anyone. Just don't do those cold selling me something immediately thing. It'll never fly.
All right. Well, Tara, again, appreciate it. And we'll get this video out to everyone shortly. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.